So, ladies and gentlemen, I just got hung up on. hmm This gentleman just hung up on me. He did. He really did. hmm He did. He was like, click. I was like, oh, okay. Don't understand the preference and the purpose of hanging up on someone. I think it's rude. Um, I don't think it is, you know, appreciate it. But, I really just got hung up on. I'm stuck on that part. It's rude. It was like, click. I was like, okay, all right. Hung up on my ass. Ready then. Sure did hang up on me. And I was talking about the same thing that I always talk about. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. Come on in, y'all. Oh, I need my slippers. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Now I gotta find my damn keys. Lord Jesus. I'm ready to go. Hold on, y'all. So, he had hung up on me. Hold on. Let me actually start the camera. Hold on, guys. So, we was having a conversation. And I was telling him, first of all, hi. Hi, everybody. I was talking to him about my best friend and things of that nature. And he hung up on me. And I told him, like straight up, I'm not accepting losing my best friend to a man. I don't understand why nobody don't seem to understand that. And I said, you're not understanding my situation, which is he's not going anywhere. He's not. And he's not. I feel that I have free range to speak on this particular topic of conversation because it literally like just happened and I feel like he was wrong. So there are certain things I don't like being called. I don't like being called baby, sweetheart, or things of that nature. I don't like it. And I said, hey, I don't like that you call me those things. I like being called, Amanda. That's my name. And he was like, oh, the last time, I spoke to you, I didn't do it. And he's right. The last time we spoke, he didn't say it at all. And then he did it today. And I was like, I know I'm not tripping. Like, I know you just told me to not nitpick on certain things that you say because you didn't say it the last time you spoke to me. But I'm telling you, hey, I don't like it. And you did it anyway. I'm like, I'm so confused. Okay, whatever. He did say though, I definitely will say, he did say that like he is the type of man to accept my friend and things of that nature. Because like, you wouldn't have no need for him, your son would. You know, he was like, you know, it's not like you two would be going anywhere together. But he was like, you know, I would speak to him, you know, I would say hi. And I was like, and he was like, you know, if he was to come somewhere, you know, he would be the third wheel. And I'm not saying that he was wrong for the things that he was saying. I'm not saying that he was wrong. I'm not. But I don't just look at my friend as like, oh, do for me, do for me, do for me, do for me, you know, like, no. And he did say, you know, you guys might, you know, talk on the phone and things like that. He definitely was willing to embrace my friendship, but he felt like I didn't need him. And, you know, like, I come with my son comes with me, you know, so I'm not just gonna have this man doing things for my son and not, you know, like, not talk to him and things of that nature. That's I feel like that's when somebody feels like they're being used.
Hold on.
I just feel that it was the hanging up for me that I didn't like, because if I could have a conversation with you, right, and even if I'm hearing something that you say and I don't like it, respectfully speaking, I'm not hanging up on you. I'm just not gonna do that. I felt that part was inappropriate and I thought it was rude. And I'm about to text him like, hey, you know, you hanging up was not called for and it was inappropriate. You know, we were having a conversation and I felt that whenever I tried to talk to him, he would hear me, but not like always see me. Like today, I found myself trying to explain it, and he's older than I am. So, you know, I'm trying to have an understanding of, okay, you know, this gentleman is older, and I get that. You know, like I get, you know, when you're older, you know, you've been through things and you've had relationships, you know, you have a better understanding than I do. I own that. You know, but my thing is, you could tell he was getting frustrated. He was like, you know, I've heard this conversation like so many different times, you know, from different women. And he was like, you know, you're no different. You just have a different face. And I'm trying to like talk to him about why I'm different, and he wasn't trying to hear it. And he kept saying that it felt like I was being one-sided because I wasn't taking into consideration how a man would feel. I said that's not true. I understand that that may make a man feel the way I said, but I would have to have a conversation with him and see if he can accept like my friend. And again, he definitely was. Now I have to give him that. It was just that, and you know, he was being respectful. He was. I give it to him. He was. Again, like it wasn't nothing negative towards my friend, but I felt it was something like just a little. Maybe because he's older and I'm not like that age, so I don't really have like a high understanding. But I got where he was coming from, but at the same time, I needed him to be a little bit more understanding. And I said to him, you know, I need to find a man that's understanding of my situation, because if I can't find somebody that's not understanding, I can't be bothered. I can't, you know. Damn, I don't think this is gonna hold. Hold on. It's not gonna hold. Mother trucker. It's not gonna hold. Oh, it just might hold. Is it gonna hold? Is it gonna hold? It's going to hold, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to hold. And I was like, you know, it's frustrating. Because, you know, this man has my friend has been there pertaining to like doctor's appointments and things of that nature, and I'm just not kicking him to the curb. I'm just not gonna do that. And I say, it's fine if I am like by myself for a while because nobody is understanding. I said, but I can't sit here and put myself in the back burner or like my bills and things of that nature. I said, because it's not cool. And he was like, sorry. He was like, if you have a man that's doing everything for you and your son, what do you need him for? I was like, I'm not throwing a 13, 14-year friendship down the drain for another person's presence. Not doing it. I think it's rude. I think it's extremely disrespectful. And I told him, I was like, whoever is around me, again, like I always tell you, I would want him to match a name to a face and a face to name so he has an understanding of the role that this man plays in my son's life. Yes, like he is a huge part of my son's life, a hell of a lot. And again, he wasn't disrespectful, no. And I do know, because I told him, I said, like, even on my phone, and my son's phone, like, if something happens to me and my son, like, my emergency contact on my phone is him and my mother. Hold on, y'all. And I said, like, even on my son's phone, it's him, me, and my mother. And he was like, I wouldn't want you to change that. He was like, because I would just become again, so I wouldn't want you to change that. So I get that he would be giving me time to try to, like, walk away from him, but I said, I can't. And then I said to him, I was like, perfect example. I said, Friday I have to go to work in the morning. And at my first job at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I said, Saturday, like, I gotta be to work at 2. My son doesn't get out of class so about like 2:15, 2:30. I said, so because I said to him, it was something along the lines of like me needing more than one person to help me because of like pickups and drop off and things of that nature. So he was like, you don't even know if your man would have been doing something Friday, but I never got to say to him because he just wouldn't let me talk at that moment in time. I was trying to explain to him, but I did say to him, hey, like, anybody that's picking up and dropping off, I said, I do have to stay in communication with them because I need to know, hey, like, Barry dropped them off, now I need Johnny to pick him up, something like that. So I need everybody to, like, stay, like, have an understanding of, okay, like, I got him to pick up and I got him to drop off. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So, like, everybody just knows. Again, match a face to a name and a name to a face. That's how I think. He was like, you would take that from your man, but what I was trying to say was, this is why I was trying to get him to understand that, sometimes a man can't do everything I need him to do, like, and this is where I say, why do I have to lose out on money for your feelings? And I'm like, I apologize, but I'm not apologetic. I'm not losing money out because of somebody's feelings. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry, but no. I wish that he would have let me finish speaking, or like when I was saying, hey, like, today I was trying to really get him, like, have a better understanding, and he just kind of took that from me, from being so flustered. And I'm assuming that like he hung up because he was like, he felt like, hey, been there, done that, I don't want to deal with that. And I get that. But at the same time, again, that, and I told him, I said, I have not met a man that is understanding of my situation. And I said, until then, if it's meant for me to be by myself, or so then just that. I said, so then just be it. Because I said, like, at this point, I can't keep beating a dead horse. I'm tired of really having to explain to people like, hey, this man is in my son's life. Like, this man knows his surgeons. This man has been in operations. Like, he plays a huge part of my son's life. And I need somebody to understand that he's not going nowhere. And if you can't understand that and still be my man and still be there for me, well, then, baby, you can go to, like Beyonce said, to the left. Because the door is literally like to the left. Again, I do think that it's because he's older and he feels like, hey, been there, done that. I don't want to go through that again. And I have an understanding of that. But at the same time, you got to be open-minded to, like my situation and me being a single mother. And he was like, that the mother of his children could call him whenever, like, they need him. I said, well, you got to understand that I was trying to get him to hear me say, like, hey, I don't have that privilege. I don't have the privilege that your children's mother had with you. I don't have that. So I look at it like this. If I had that privilege, right, and then I was to try to take that from my man, and then like give it to my friend, I feel like that would be wrong. And I say that because the person that I should always go to first is his father. But again, I don't have that, so I go to my friend because, again, like, I have that sense of comfortability, like, I trust him, and yes, he is my safety net. I'm always going to speak highly on him, and I'm always going to speak, like, very positive. And I already told him, like, if not even if, but like whenever it does happen, like whenever my friend gets with somebody and he says, hey, that I can't do, like, speaking to myself in third party, hey, I can't do, the things I used to do for you because, I have a girl. I could respect that. But then I'm trying to get him to understand that even when that does happen, because it's going to happen, I'm still going to be back to square one. I said, so even if I don't have you in my life and I don't have him in my life, I'm still back to square one. Like, I'm not. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, and you have to have an understanding of, okay, well, he's not the only friend. That's where it is. I'm not. Like, I just felt like the hanging up was it was tacky. I felt like it was tacky. It was inappropriate. It wasn't called for, I'm trying to have a conversation with you, but you won't even listen to what I'm saying because whenever I talk, you're still talking. Like, you're talking for the longest time, and I'm giving you that respect and I'm listening to you, but then as soon as I try to say something back, you just go straight back to you. So it's like, well, why am I even on the phone if whenever I say something, you're kind of just like, oh, no, that's not it. No, that's not it. Like, no. Like, yes. Like, this man has been around since before my son even knew he was a damn person. You understand what I'm saying? Like, before my son even knew he had eyes and hands and a nose and a mouth. Like, like, he's been around since my son was, like, he met my son when he was this and he was crawling. So where you thought he was going? My son is 9. That means this man has met me before I even had my son. Meaning this man has seen me in some shit, done got me out some shit, and talked me on some shit. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not sitting up there saying that a new man can't do the things that he do. I'm not saying that. And he even did say, hey, I will come in giving him a break. And I get that. So, like, the things that I used to call him for, I would call my man for. So I get it. But I'm telling him that he's not going anywhere. He's just not. Like, understand this man is going to be around me until God says, okay, you know what, like, admitted he has a woman, speaking to myself in third party, and he gotta go, then that's fine. But as right here, right now, whoever gets with me, you gotta understand he's not going no damn where. Simple as that. Damn. And I said I could see I was coming in lying. That's a different story. I said, imagine if I'm dating somebody and a month into it, then I say, oh, hey, this is my friend. That man gonna look at me like I'm retarded, because he's gonna be like, well, wait a minute. You know, I've been talking to you for like, 2 months, and we've been dating for a month. So that's 3 months all together. I never heard of this man before. So now I'm strategically supposed to just bring him in no, like, no, you're gonna come in. Yes, yes, A, B, C, X, Y, you wanna know who everybody is. The hell out of here. Honestly. Like, I'm not hiding him from nobody. And I feel like when you hide people and you don't say something about somebody for like months on down the line, that's when people start having these assumptions of, oh my goodness, well, since I just met them, you must have been dealing with them. Huh? Like, I'm respecting you enough to give you this honesty, but you're taking it from me by being like with the assumption that I'm over it. I don't care. I'm sick of it. Like, I don't, like, I never want to come in lying to somebody about something and or someone. It's never the case. I want to be able to be open, and I want to be able to have a sense of comfortability to where I can introduce you to somebody. And then, and I always said, I have to have an understanding on how a man may feel about something, right? And how a man may feel uncomfortable. And I said, I get it. I get it. But Lord knows I'm going to try my damn hardest to make sure this man knows, listen, nothing has ever gone on. And I don't have that balance. I haven't met, and I'm not being disrespectful, so please hear me out. I have not met a man that is okay with it. Am I okay with losing him? No. Am I okay with being by myself at this point? Yes. Yes, like I've said, you know what? It is what it is. Like I can't lie. I don't understand what someone wants me to do. Like, you're not gonna just come in and dish everything just stops because you are now here. It doesn't work that way. Like, when it comes to my son, I'm very careful with who is around my son. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why I don't allow anybody like in and out my home, because I'm not with it. Like, I'm over it. And then me and him was talking, and I said, I find it funny how a man could date and have a child and everything is okay. And he was like, if that man is only dating one woman, he plans on being with her. I said, I can understand that. I said, but I don't like how when a woman does it, she gets battered, and trashed. He was like, oh, he was like, for a woman, if she has like a revolving door, it's not a good thing. I said, so if a man does, that's okay. So then he was like, well, like 9 times out of 10, if a man wants to be later with a woman, he'll drop the kids off to his mother. I'm like, okay. I don't know. Maybe there's just a lot of things that I don't have an understanding to, and I quit trying to have an understanding to. I just know that nobody's coming, and I'm not being disrespectful at all, but I'm glad that he never came to my home and nothing like that. Or I never been in his home and nothing like that. This is the reason why I don't go to people's house, cause I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Leave me on the phone. You know. I wish him well, of course I do. But I definitely did have to let him know, that was inappropriate. Like, there was no need for you to hang up. We were having a conversation. You didn't like what you were hearing, so you hung up. But, like, you being older, I just didn't think it was called for. I thought it was really tacky. I didn't appreciate it, and I thought it was inappropriate. Because I've never hung up on you, even though you were saying things I didn't agree with. I've never hung up on you. You're older than me. So it's like, come on. I don't know if it's because he's older, so he feels like he just had the right because he's been through something like that. But respectfully speaking, I'm not her and she's not me. That's all I'm saying. It's never to be disrespectful or rude or nothing of that nature. No, it's never that. No. But this is why I say my door is locked and closed. That door is closed and this door is closed. Like, I'm cool. No, thank you. Like, no. I get, and it's funny because I just told one of my guy friends about it, and that's the one that likes me. And I told him, I was like, again, I don't like you. What's so funny? I said to him, I said, I don't understand. I said, there's about 3 to 4 men that like me, and I don't like neither one of them. I said, I don't have an understanding on why is this happening. Like, I don't want these people. And he was like, oh, I'm pretty secure within myself. I said, that's nice. I'm glad that you are secure within yourself. I wish you the best as well. I hope you happy with whoever you end up with, of course. It's never no hate, over my way, but I thought that was just crazy. Am I calling him back to have a conversation with him? Absolutely not, because that was just distasteful to me. So you got it. You got it. And this isn't a manner where I say, I'm not fixing something. Like, I'm not trying to have a conversation with you after that, because listen, from what I've been through, like, you hang up on me one time, I'm not gonna give you another chance to hang up on me. Like, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? That's all. And it's like, it don't gotta be no hatred or like nothing crazy like that. No, it's nothing like that. No. Do I think he's an amazing man? Absolutely. Whoever gets him, I think good luck. In a very positive manner. He's older, so he's stuck in his ways, and like, it's okay to be, that's fine. I'm just not with it. That's all it is. And that's pretty much it. Hi, everybody is saying hello. Hi guys. So that's I've had an interesting day. Absolutely. I didn't think I was gonna get hung up on, but I damn sure no did. I damn sure no did. He was like, I said, oh, okay, well, that's in that conversation. Now, isn't it? I feel like, and I'm not just speaking on him, I'm talking on general. It don't matter who you talking to on the phone or something like that. If you don't like what somebody say, damn, don't hang up on them. Like, that's rude. I think it's a little bit odd when older people hang up on people that's not at their age, because if anything, I always look at older people as, you set the boundary, you set the standard, you set the tone. And when you the one that's hanging up because you don't like what you hearing, when you will let me talk, it shows me, like I'm cool, you know. You are who you are. I am who I am, and that's okay. you know. I'm personally, I'm speaking for myself. I'm never gonna hang up on somebody because I disagree with what they're saying, or I'm getting frustrated, or I'm getting annoyed. I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm gonna talk to you about it, you know. And don't get me wrong, I have been talking to him about this for like 3 days because I've been talking to you about this for 2 days, and it clearly still is not working. So, like I said, I'm not gonna stop introducing my friend. I'm not gonna stop being honest. I'm not gonna stop giving my friend. I'm not gonna say the praise, but like the positivity that I give him, I'm not gonna stop that because he's been there. You're just getting here. So no, I'm just not doing it. Let me bring that a little closer because that's not too far. But yeah, just like no, like I'm cool. That's all. I feel that. Well, I feel that like if the shoe was on the other foot, and he asked me, hmm. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I don't like, huh? He asked me, like how would I feel? And I should have told him I said I would be okay with it because at the end of the day, you know, huh? It was a reaction to what you were saying. Oh, I don't know. Um, but that's what I'm saying though. Just I couldn't. I was trying to really like get him to really understand like where I was coming from, but he just, again, I think it is because he's older and he feels like I've been there, done that. I don't want to go through that again. And I don't want to say I'm knocking what he was saying. Like, I don't want to say that, but he's my friend isn't going anywhere. It's just as simple as that. If anybody doesn't like it, I'm not the person where I don't care. Like he's been there when my son has surgeries and operations. Like, where do you think this man is going? And at the same time, when you're having a conversation with somebody, that doesn't give you the right to hang up on them. It's rude. It's rude. Can y'all comment on here or no? Because I don't know what Lobo is saying. I can't put it together. It's not letting y'all comment on here. You guys can't comment. Well, someone just said it was a reaction to what you were saying. But if I'm not able to say everything I need to say, you're not hearing me because you are. You know what? I don't know. You're not letting me like fully talk all the way. Y'all can't comment on here because Lobo. I don't know. I don't know if Lobo was speaking a different language, but I was asking, have you ever? What? Lobo, I'm going to need you to speak English because if not, I can't. I can't understand what you're saying. I was asking, have you ever? Have you ever? Other things? What? What are y'all talking about? Like, can y'all speak English? Because that's not English. Like, I know I talk a little crazy sometimes, but y'all not speaking English.